So, we should officially be live. I'm just going to give it a few seconds for everybody who's joining the call right now, also to make sure that you can hear us. So, this is a sound check, video check. If you're in the audience and you hear any issues or you don't hear us, let us know and we'll try and get that fixed for you. But other than that, hello everyone. Welcome to today's conversation, this time about opportunities in the African space industry rather than careers in the African space industry. So if you've been here before, you know that we typically try and have monthly events where we talk to different professionals in the industry and sort of get their perspectives. So this time we'll also be focusing really on concrete things that you can do today within the African space ecosystem, or opportunities and activities that you can get involved in. So as we get started, I'd also invite you already to like the video, share it with your friends, get more people in here. Thank you for joining us again on Saturday early afternoon. Here in Berlin, it's actually raining, so the weather is not so great, but hopefully it's a sunnier wherever you're joining us from. For those that don't know, Space Hubs Africa is building an online African space network. So we have a community platform that offers members different ways to get involved in or learn about space. So satellite technologies, businesses, events. If you haven't already, I'll invite you to join. You can find more information in the YouTube description. And exactly one of the things that we like to do is having regular webinars on the African space industry, which brings us today. So today we have three speakers with us. So we have Charles Zozi, he's the national point of contact for SJC in Cameroon. Charles, you want to say a few words quickly?
Yeah, of course. Hello to everyone. I'm super happy to be part of this panel, and yeah, let's talk about space. Yeah, thanks.
Great. We also have Salvation Peter. She's the founder of Space STEM Educational Initiative for Africa, and her vision is to transform the lives of Africans using interactive and practical space and STEM education. Salvation, do you also want to say a few words?
Hello everyone, good morning or good afternoon, and thank you for joining the call today.
Great. And then last but definitely not least, we have Alimame Conte. He is the co-founder and executive director of STED Society, as well as national point of contact for Sierra Leone for the SJC. Alimame, do you also want to say a few words?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good day, everyone out there. It's nice to have you right at our doorstep today, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive. We're going to explore some opportunities when it comes to the African space sector. Thank you.
Perfect. So in that case, we'll just get right around started. This webinar, we think it will last about 1 hour, and we'll just go through each speaker's experience quickly and also talk about some opportunities as mentioned. So actually, we will start with Alimami today. So just generally speaking, what is the space ecosystem like in Sierra Leone? Like, is there much going on? How did you even hear about space, and what motivated you to try and get involved in the industry?
Thank you very much, Kweku. Like specifically for Sierra Leone, it has been in the dark when it comes to space, to the technology, and how we can utilize space technologies to its full potentials. Let's say we have been the front end users of space services, but we have not been at the back end developers when it comes to space with the technology. So first of all, I got inspired having to know one of a Sierra Leonean by descent whose name is Moriba Kaimasaja. He is a senior with the lecturer at the University of Texas, and he is also with the founder and with the CEO of Astragraph. So like I bumped into the conversation with him about space, because since my childhood days I've been having some inspiration to explore with the universe. How can I explore with the universe? What does it take for me to explore with the universe? How can I learn about technologies that is supporting human being on Earth? So like I had a conversation with him, and he then linked me up with SGAC to see how best I can work there as a volunteer, and then develop my professional status, and have a lot of network when it comes to space. So Sierra Leone is still struggling on how we can be the back end users of space with the technology, but we are raising the awareness. We have raised a lot of awareness when it comes to space, when it comes to space science, when it comes to astronomy, and we are now focusing on the capacity building. How can we build on the capacity, not just raising the awareness, but also building on the capacity to see how best we can foster more development when it comes to space with the technology in Syria. Thank you.
And so, for yourself, what is the main thing about space that that excites you and that makes you want to be part of the industry?
The main thing that excites me is how are we using these technologies that are way ahead of us, that are evolving around with the earth, then supporting with the communication, supporting art observation, supporting navigation, and then to see how best they can improve or simplify our mode of what interaction. Because actually, first of all, I sat down and think about it. Oh, here in Sierra Leone having a call with someone in the US. Okay, that's amazing. So what is supporting these facilities, or what is supporting these services? Okay, now it's all about satellite technology. Okay, how can we have a satellite with the technology out here to see how best we can expand on the connectivity ratio, to see how best internet is not centered in the capital of Sierra Leone, but it's been diversified. We are in each and every one have access towards the internet, because we are aware that the golden opportunity or the golden fortune of our generation is the internet. And with the internet, you can do whatever thing you want to do, you can learn whatever thing you want to learn, and you can even outsource some skill set or some data to solve societal problem and societal challenges. So I think that's what got me inspired when it comes to communication and when it comes to navigation, because I can be in Freetown, I don't know anything in Ghana, but once I am in Ghana, I know how to navigate from one street to another using the GPS system and all the things. So I think that's what got me more inspired. Thank you.
Right. So yeah, the potential of the technology and its applications is really what motivates you the most about the industry, and I think that's something that all of us can sympathize with or can relate to, because I mean, if you've been in Africa, you know all the different infrastructure issues, and being able to bypass them or being able to have solutions for them is something that is very impactful overall. I mean, so looking just in general at like your resume, the things you've done, you've been involved in a lot of different organizations and still are involved in a lot of organizations. So the SGAC, the International Astronomical Union, the Moon Village Association. Do you just want to talk briefly sort of about what you do in all those organizations, how you got involved with them, and sort of some of the goals of I mean, it's a lot of different organizations, but some of the goals of those organizations as well?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I want to start with the SGAC, which is the Space Generation Advisory Council. The SGAC, it is a platform wherein students and young professionals come together, share ideas, learn from each and every one of them out there to see how best they can foster sustainable space application in their country. So like SGC has been one of the major organizations that I think have supported me when it comes to my space with the career, because actually it ranges from professional development down to networking, down to research and consultancy, and down to knowledge exchange, the technology advancement, and skills development. Because with SGAC, you you can build on your professionalism. With SGAC, you can build on your networking skills. With SGAC, there is a lot of exchange when it comes to knowledge, and then there is a lot of skills with the development. So I was appointed as NPOC in 2018, where I sat down. I think about me being alone, trying to foster change in Sierra Leone when it comes to space, it will be a daunting task. Why can't we find some friends? We sit down, let's set up a local team out there, and that is where we found the STED Society, which is an acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Development Society. Then, okay, space is something good, something fascinating, but we want to know how can we monitor our dark skies, how can we learn about our stars, how can we do something fascinating for kids. Then I got appointed as NOC for the IAU, the International Astronomical Union Office of Astronomy Outreach. There comes in, we are bringing astronomy to kids that have no idea when it comes to the stars. They don't know when about dark sky, with the tourism. They don't know about the telescope. They don't know about the universe. How can we use some of these resources that OAO will provide to see how best we can facilitate our activities out there? Then, and I moved on, worked with my team collaboratively. We raised some high amounts of awareness in Sierra Leone, and also to see how best we can bring everybody on the table. Let's see how let's get something done when it comes to space. Then I heard about the Moon Village Association, and the one thing that got me more involved in with the MVA is on roadmap the development. How can we develop a roadmap for countries that have no active space with the program? And I sat down with some folks out there. Hey, let's see how best we can engage MVA. Then we can have a roadmap, because when it comes to the policy and strategy for space in Sierra Leone, it will be a daunting task. But if we have a roadmap, it will ease down with the journey to achieve a space with the policy and strategy for Sierra Leone. So that is how I got involved in this organization, and it has been rewarding. There is a lot of opportunities when you are into this organization, because you have a lot of things that you learn, a lot of friends you meet, a lot of ideas exchange, a lot of skills with development. So thank you very much.
So speaking then actually about these opportunities, what sort of opportunities are there? So for our listeners right now who maybe want to get involved in either some of the organizations you're involved in, or want to learn more, or want to find opportunities for themselves, what sort of opportunities are there, and how can they in general make sure they're also more in tune to new opportunities that are coming out for themselves as well?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier that there is a range of opportunities when it comes to with the African space with industry, but it's dependent upon what you want to achieve as an individual, because actually when it comes to your professional development, that is one of the greatest opportunities that these organizations provide. They provide you with a professional development, meaning that they increase your level of professionalism, and then they see how best they can expand your network. They expand your network right across the globe. You will have friends out right across the globe, and I think about 1 week back, I had a friend that visited Sierra Leone. He is for the US, and he is part of SGAC. So he was in Sierra Leone. Then he just will type NPOC for Sierra Leone, and successfully my name popped up. So we we had to chat, we had to hang out, make some fun, do some talking, and then see how best we can. Because when it comes to this with organization, they increase your network, and they give you the opportunity for research and consultancy, because they have working groups, they have with the projects that are ongoing, which you can then tap into, join them, and see how best you can learn one or two things and then implement it in your society. Then when it comes to exchange of knowledge, there is bunch of exchange of knowledge, because you are meeting with different people. You you are working with different folks out there. So like the exchange of ideas and knowledge is outstanding. You have a lot of outstanding knowledge that you are gaining. And when it comes to technological development, and I can say for the fact, in 2018, I don't know what is WebEx Meet. I don't know what is Google Meet. I don't know what is Go to Meeting. But now I can boast of that. I know what is Google Meet, what is WebEx Meet, what is GoToMeet, and what is Mail Merge. How can I code? I can code in Python. I can code in the MATLAB. I can sit down and learn something by myself, because this organization, they force you to learn something new, to expand your horizon when it comes to 21st century skills, provide you with golden opportunities for you to travel across the world, because they have a lot of scholarships when it comes to attending events, meeting space experts, meeting leaders, meeting governments, meeting space agencies. So like they also provide you a platform wherein you can build on your professionalism when it comes to your field of study. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you a lot. So it's essentially, to sum it up, it's essentially trying to set yourself a professional, or figure out what you want professionally, and then chase those things, because you want to build up the professional. It's not really about one or the other opportunity. It's more about what do you want from your own professional career, and trying to match and mix those things that you develop as a person and keep moving forward. Is that correct? As a quick summary.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Perfect.
Why? Because I'm studying the mechanical in I'm studying mechanical engineering, and for me to be good in my field, I need to have a high level when it comes to the professionalism. So like I can know how to work with folks in the industries, how to be network you know, with them, how to see how best we can bring a problem on the table, then work collaboratively on a teamwork platform, and then solve it. That's all I think I can get for now. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. And just for our audience as well, Alimami has a low battery, so he might have to leave the call soon. But obviously, we thank him a lot for his insights. And we will now go over to Salvation. So Salvation, looking at your background, I mean, your background has been mostly in data science till now, and it seems that you're also now pushing some STEM and space capabilities as well. Would you like just talking a bit about sort of how you got involved in space, how you transitioned from data science to space, and what some of your motivations are behind that?
Okay, thank you so much, Kwaku. First, I want to say I didn't transition. I'm doing both side by side.
Even better.
Of course, there's an intersection between data science and space, because of course space provides us a lot of data. I took a course last year from the University of Luxembourg, and one of the major things that we were taught in the course was how we could collect data from space and make meanings from it. The European Copernicus and all that. So, how did I get into space? It's I wouldn't say I wanted or I dreamed to be an astronaut when I was small, but it passed my mind. It crossed my mind a couple of times, but I thought it wasn't feasible, and I didn't even think of pursuing it. I had issues with physics too, and it was just hard to start when I was a young girl, much younger rather. But few years ago, I met with someone, a senior engineer in NASDA here in Nigeria, and she encouraged me and she told me there are opportunities in space, even as someone who is coming from computer science with experience in data science, that there are chances for me in space. And I looked at it and also weighed other opportunities that come from, space science and STEM fields. And I noticed that it's not just about these opportunities being there, but it's also being aware of these opportunities. So that was how I came into space. And I didn't come in as a space expert, so to say, but I came in as someone who is ready to bring these opportunities and make them aware to younger generation. You understand? So let them be sure of what they can achieve, what they can become in the near future. And that's how it started. I started getting involved, reading books, taking courses, watching videos, reaching out to people, making interactions, networking, and all that. So for me, that's where I started.
So it also seems then that you have a passion of education and really bringing space and STEM generally to the masses. And you also ended up starting Space STEM Education Initiative for Africa. Would you like to tell us a bit about that? How did that get started? Why did you create it? And what are some of the goals that you're trying to achieve?
Oh, okay. Space STEM Educational Initiative for Africa started because I didn't know what opportunities I had. Okay, so someone telling me means, okay, I'm just one person, and who knows how many people can get to her, because she's a senior engineer. She probably doesn't have the time to reach out to so many people, as even in Nigeria here, she might be so focused on her work and she won't even have the opportunity to reach out to younger people, especially children in secondary school or senior primary. So how do we make it possible that these young people are able to know the opportunities, are aware of these opportunities, and are also ready, are being guided to, walk their way through the right paths? Because it's not easy for someone who has graduated from the university or who already has his future ahead of him, and then you're telling the person, oh, you already have interest in space, why not start from the beginning? At what age? It's difficult for the person to get started. But if we are able to, get the children or these young people who have the ambition to go into space, and we're able to guide them, groom them properly, it won't be difficult for them to, come in to the right platforms or come into the right opportunities, take, or become aware of the opportunities, and also take, how do I'm looking for the adjective now, take initiative into what they want to do, become creative and all that. So that was what made me start SSEIA, a place or a platform that reach out to the younger generation, that reach out to the younger people and groom them so that they'll be able to know the opportunities they have, and also guide them, if they're interested, to the right fields, to the right path, so that they come up to what they want to be.
And so,
Yeah.
speaking of some of the opportunities, so what type of opportunities are available to people who are either part of SSEIA or people who are watching the stream right now? How do they actually get involved in some of the things you're doing?
Okay. Generally in the space and STEM fields, there are just so many opportunities. There are opportunities such as, of course, astronauts. Being an astronaut is something that is possible, even though it's difficult. It's rocket science, of course, but it is possible. Then, of course, you have the engineers who ensure that all those the rockets themselves are being properly built. Then you also have the doctors, the medical people, who ensure that these people who are going into space are fit, or maybe how do they manage all these bone density issues they come back with from space. All those are opportunities. And beyond that, we have opportunities such as data science, where you don't have to go to space. All you need to do is to sit back and munch the data coming from space. Tell us how useful it's going to be for us. Use it to predict the future for us. Tell us how to manage our lives such that it will be better for us tomorrow. You understand? So there are opportunities like that. And then there are opportunities like program managers, project managers. You want to carry out a project, you want to do something. Where do I start? They're the ones that coordinate the entire process. So you don't even have to be a core scientist or a physicist, to be part of this field. You could be something as simple as a program manager, a project manager. You'll be able to coordinate it. A product manager, you'll be able to coordinate the entire process from the start of the project to the end of it, to ensure that the entire, maybe going to the moon, for instance, is done properly and everything came out in time. The timelines are met and all that. So that's it.
And then, so for yourself with data science, was that something that you started learning by yourself initially, or did you go to school and then decide to choose it, or how, like, what made you want to get into data science, and how did you make your first steps into it?
Okay. I have a background in computer science. I graduated from Department of Computer Science. So I already had programming skills from school. But then everyone in my community was into web development and web design. And trust me, I'm not good with colors. So and away from anything web development and design. But then I started looking for something that doesn't have to do with colors, something that had to do more of being creative, something that had, working from the background. So someone told me about Python, that I could learn Python. At least I wouldn't have to deal with colors. I would only have to deal with statistics, mathematics, how to make things work. So I started with that on my own. I started with videos and some materials. Then I also got in touch with a particular hub in my community, Rat 5 Tech Hub. So they were the ones who now helped me to channel my um, personal learning, which was from here and there. They were able to help me curate it, make it sequential, taking me from the very basics, and I kept growing with it. So that was how I started. And then I went into data science, trying to see how I can make sense out of data. And that was how it started. So coming to hear of space, I looked at it. I am already in data science. I don't want to drop it, right? So I had to look for how to apply it to the space field. And that's how we're here.
So for the people that don't know, what are some of the things you can do in the space industry with data science?
Okay. I would use an illustration to explain this or to answer this question. Now let's take a farm, for instance. Now this farm probably doesn't know when it's going to rain, or the farmer rather doesn't know when it's going to rain. He doesn't know, he only knows maybe by experience that he has to plant between January and February, for instance, and after that he has to weed his farm, he has to do this or that, and then by maybe November, December he has to harvest. Now data from space will help this farmer know, okay, if I plant early January, it's going to be bad. I don't have to wait until, you know, the data generally would just help the farmer know what to do. You know, he's able to predict drought, he's able to predict rainfall beyond what his plants or crops need, right? So data science will only help the farmer to be able to, from from a higher view, from a higher perspective, to know what the weather, what the climate is going to be like, and how it's going to affect his crop yield, and he will be able to, work towards that. Okay, so that's how data science is going to affect, you know, how do I put it now? These are the application of data science to STEM or space education, space technologies. You take the data, you find insights, how it's going to affect you as a person, how it's going to affect, the environment. Last year, October, something happened here in Nigeria. We had this SARS movement. You probably heard of it. So one of the things people were saying, or it was just like a clash, who sent the armed forces to come and scatter the people who came out to protest. I'm not saying it's the government, I'm not saying anyone sent them, but using space data, we can trace where those people came from, right? How far they came from, who you can even trace who they were, at least up to their unit. Which people are these? Where did they come from? What type of car did they come with? How did they do it? What did they do? You don't have to be at the scene to know. You can just get data from Copernicus, and then you munge it. You're able to visualize it and see everything that went on that day. So it can be used for security, it can be used in agriculture, it can be used in different fields. Okay, let me stop there for now.
Okay, so essentially it helps. It's helping people make more informed decisions. That's kind of the key of it. And I mean, for those that don't know, there are different types of space data. So you have, location data, so data on where people are located. Yes. There's like satellite imagery, so taking pictures from space in different spectral bands to get information about the soil or about the land or how things are moving. And then obviously there's communication data, so sending data over larger distances. And all of these things can be put together, referenced, put on a map, and you can get a lot of more insights from combining different data sources, and it helps you get more insight into the things you do. And so, people like Salvation, they get all that data, they sit behind the computer, make some cool algorithms, make some cool models, and then next thing you know, you're able to do a lot more, especially if you're a farmer. You're able to get a lot more from insight into what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
So just one more question before then we switch over to Charles. Looking a bit more into the long term for SSEIA, sort of 5 to 10 years down the line, what sort of impact would you like to have?
Okay, for SSEIA, we have a target to at least reach over 20,000 minimum of young people in Nigeria. That is what we hope to achieve in the next 3 years. And in Africa as a whole, we intend to at least reach 100,000 school children or young people in secondary schools across Africa in the next 5 years. And we are looking out for collaborations. We are looking out for volunteers who would come with us to, just bring this awareness to the young people in Nigeria and across Africa. I know a lot of countries are already doing it, like Alimani in Sierra Leone. We have a few friends in Angola and I think Morocco. That was the last one I spoke with some time ago. So a lot of countries in Africa are already doing it, but then there's still a lot more work to do. So we are intending to reach these underserved communities that don't have people who are reaching out to them. Just at least let them know that it is possible. Let them know the opportunities. They may not be able to become the astronomers or those building the rockets, but at least they might become those who are teaching the courses or the subjects needed as a foundation for this. So if the first generation people are teaching the subjects, definitely chances are that the second generation would take it up and want to actually bring it to practice, actually put this stuff piece by piece together and make it work. So that is what we are looking at. Reach a lot of persons, let us have this influence and awareness reaching everywhere, and then we move with that. We are open to collaborations. We are open to volunteers coming to work with us. We are open to anyone who feels he or she has something to help us with. We would welcome you with our hands open.
That's great. That's really, really great vision. And I like that it's very concrete as well. You have very clear targets of what you want to achieve. I think that's always very important if you actually want to make progress. And from my perspective, if there's any way Space Helps Africa, so Nelly and I can help you, feel free to reach out. And of course, we'll do what we can.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you a lot. So now we'll switch over to Charles, who's been patiently waiting. But thank you, Charles. To start off with, I guess I'll take the same steps as Alimami, which is what is the space ecosystem like in Cameroon?
Okay, thank you very much. So I will say in Cameroon and almost in Central Africa, there is almost no space infrastructure. And when I talk about space infrastructure, I'm talking about space industry, space organization like space office or space agency. I'm also talking about space policy that should normally, I will say, constitute a framework in order to promote space in the region. So actually, there is few, I will say, institution using or consuming space product or services, but in general, it's just like TV, through satellite TV, like with CanalSat, for example, Canal Plus, or I will say some institution like defense. We don't have too much information, of course, but also the civil protection that are sometimes somehow using such kind of, I will say, data, and maybe also the Ministry of Innovation, who is also doing sometimes some capacity building through the collaboration with CRASE, the Center of Regional Education on space-related matters. But from what I have been able to see so far, it was more focused on drones, things like that, you see, not some things really concrete and that can help younger or young generation dream about space. So almost nothing from my point of view.
And so when that's the case, when there isn't much activity going on around you and you don't hear people talking about space, it's not really on anybody's agenda. How does someone like you even get involved or want to get involved or has this passion to be part of the industry?
Yeah, that is a very good question because what everyone always asks is we have hunger problem issues like we don't have any even things food to eat. Why are you talking about space? Like um, I started my journey into space. I was always fascinated by space related, I will say, sciences, application, and also technologies. But I started like around 2017, 18 also, took SGEC. SGEC is Space Generation Advisory Council. I joined one of the project because they have almost 10 project group. One of them was space technology for disaster risk management, for disaster risk reduction. And at that time, since my background is environmental and industrial risk engineer, um, I was interested on space technology for disaster risk management. So I joined that project group because I was taking part to NASA Asset program, that is a capacity building program through NASA. And through that, I was able to get in touch with someone and join that project group. After few like 1 year ago, they changed that it's already space technology for head application, and I'm still involved into that project group. Now we will have a workshop in October on real-time fluid assessment, identification and assessment through artificial intelligence and sound and optical data. Through that, I was able to be appointed as national point of contact, and I also organized a lot of capacity building, competition, awareness campaign, event, also national at the national level, but also regional because at the national level I organized like Africa Needs Space without any big support, I will say, but still by involving local partner and also few institutions like some minister. But we are at the regional level. Recently in February, we organized the fourth Africa Space Generation Workshop, and we bring on board a lot of key actors around the globe. Yeah, and that was really interesting. But apart of that, I was IAF Launchpad Mentorship Program winner. I was also part of and volunteer for the International Association for the Advancement of Space Safety. Recently, I did 2 months in Spain as teaching associate for the Space Studies program organized by International Space University. I'm taking part to the master program. Just to say, I just decide. No, I was just doing what I could do when I had that possibility and opportunities, and that lead me to build that profile into the space career. And without expecting that at the beginning, I managed to build my background now by attending this master at International Space University that will definitely contribute to a strong career into space industry. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
what I can say about that.
So you just sort of chased every opportunity that came across your way, got involved, even though you didn't necessarily have the skills or knowledge, but just kept on learning and kept moving your way up. And now you're going to the ISU to get a more of a formal education that can also open up doors. That's really cool. So I mean, you're also the national point of contact then for SGAC in Cameroon. What were some of your tasks there, and were you able to build or foster a community in space in Cameroon, or how has it been?
Thanks you again for this question, because that's helped to also demystify space for everyone. That is one goal that we fixed. I fixed also as national point of contact since I started in 2018. I started looking for an existing space ecosystem that was not the case. I managed to identify like few startup like Eureka Joe. They are specialized in capacity building in geomatics. They had strong interest also to promote space, and we work. Previously, I organized some workshop with the support of the French embassy. I organized a lot of competition. One of them, I get the support from the Office of Astronomy, and they send some book that also help to promote space. But I also work on some MOU, like Memorandum of Understanding, in order to foster, and we say, to create a strong link through SGEC and the potential existing space ecosystem. And I managed to do that with Eureka Joe and another one. So that's helped to give us like some office or building when we want to organize like workshop. We don't have to care too much about the internet because they have internet there. They have almost all the facilities. So that is some way we managed to achieve some goal, even without strong support like financial support. Yeah. So yeah, that is what I can say about that question. Yeah.
So in general, have you seen a large impact from a lot of the work you've been doing in Cameroon? Have people in Cameroon been coming up to you to try and talk to you about what you're doing about space, or has it been more of a closed ecosystem?
Yeah, definitely the impact is growing. One of the impact I can say, for example, is by working, promoting space in Cameroon, I managed to have a very good network constituting from young space passionate, I will say, younger who want to be involved, who want to contribute to that. I was able, for example, to work with Asonfak Lily. She was one of the winner of the competition organized a few times ago. She didn't know too much about space at that time, but we worked in a lot of projects, and now she's one of the space hero ambassador in Africa. You see, that is some big impact that we could not quantify. Today, like few days ago, I was discussing space related issues or potential with the director of the National Meteorology. That is a big impact because by doing my things, I managed to also involve a lot of persons who are also in the understanding a little bit more the potential that space can have in order to address big challenges in all the sectors here, really all the sectors. I can also try to develop that, but I prefer to go also at the regional level to say I contribute to a lot of projects at the regional level and also international level, like the Fourth Africa Space Generation Workshop, where I was deputy event manager. The impact of this event, for example, where we managed to bring on board on the same table the Africa Union and also the director of some selected African Space Agency, like SANSA, like Ghana Space Agency, like Egyptian Space Agency, Nigeria Space Agency also, and Kenya Space Agency, Angola Space Agency. They were all together to try to address how we can have an unified space programming strategy with concrete action that can help to promote space and to have also concrete industry, because when you are talking about industry, I always have a big issues, and at that point I'm not totally aligned with Salvation. Just when she said we have data that we can analyze, I want to say something, like you work like 1 year to be able to have money to buy a computer, a cell phone, a car, like 3 years or 10 years for few people. Why are you buying that? Where is our money going? Why should we buy data to start analyzing that to solve our problem? Sometimes we need to create our own industry and to manufacture it. And we have that potential. We have a lot of student or young professional or also expert, not only in our country, but also in Africa. Like if I am looking for a data scientist and expert like now, and I could not find anyone who also have a little experience into the space area in Cameroon, I can find it in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Ghana, for example. I can find some component in Egypt, in Algeria, for example. So on top of that, we can also create a favorable environment where we can bring back all the human resources that are abroad who wanna really contribute to this. Why? Because space is something bigger than us, and we are all part of the solution, you see. I also want to comment a little bit, if you allow me, on what Alimami said. That is something he mentioned, like the link for the professional career. But I want to comment on that just because that is one thing that helped me be more involved into space. Just because space like help also to drive other sciences like artificial intelligence, big data, robotic, machine learning, 3D printing. We don't have that experience and technology in Africa. No, we don't have that. That is the truth. Even if we have some potential, we need to invest and develop that. And space can help to create that environment where all that sciences will be really, really could also really contribute to the development that we all want. That is aligned with the Africa we want. That is the slogan of the Africa Space, I will say, strategy or
Agenda
agenda
2063. Yeah.
2063. Yeah. So that is what I can say. I can even talk about that the whole day, but I prefer to stop there first. And yeah.
No, I mean you're making a good. That's a very good point. You know, I think that's that wider conversation is something that's also quite important to have, which is how can we actually, if we want to build an ecosystem, how can we do that effectively? How can we make the most of what we have around us and stimulate something that will eventually have multiplying effects? Because, like you said, space is not just rockets and satellites and being up in space, but there's a lot of technologies that are involved in it. Like Salvation was saying, she's using data science. You know, that comes from computer programming. That's actually its own field in itself. You know, and then that's bringing something that you're bringing in. That artificial intelligence, that's something you're bringing in. All of communication technology, that's something you're bringing in. Space is an interesting area where there's a confluence of multiple different technologies from different industries that all come together and work in an interesting environment. And so from that perspective, it's actually very important to build a space ecosystem, because through it, you're building all these other downstream industries, all these other industries that are intersecting within the industry as well. And that's something that's, I mean, like we said, that's a conversation that we can have, and that can go on to a very long conversation. Yeah. But bringing it back to just looking at opportunities, I mean, we're coming near the end of this talk. I just have one quick question for you before we go to the concluding section. I mean, you've been talking a lot about how you got involved by just taking any opportunities that came your way, looking out for it. For listeners out here who don't know where to start or don't know what type of opportunities to look for, you know, what sort of opportunities are there out there for them, and how can they find them for themselves, and how can they get involved?
Okay, thank you very much. In order to address that question, I will touch into some, I will say, social needs that you can all find in the STIZA, the strategies 2024, like food security, water resources, marine and coastal zone. That touch a lot of aspects like hydrography, water bodies, things like that, environment, weather and climate, security and disaster like risk and vulnerabilities, data, governance, health, planning, infrastructure. And when we talk about infrastructure, we have like spatial information, we have energy sources, power system, things like that. When we talk about information and communication, we have like telecommunication, internet, television, like e-commerce, things like that. Innovation also, we have food security, we have disease prevention. When I'm talking about this, it's just to say with space today, whatever you are doing, whatever is your profile, if you are a space policy expert, you can be involved in creating the. Okay, I wanted to be sure that I'm still online. Yeah, it's okay. So, creating the policy, strong policy, or we say legislation that can support space into your environment, your society, your nation. We say, if you are expert in economy, you can help to define a very strong space economy, adapt to the situation of your country. If you are a data scientist expert, for example, there is thousands of open source data online that you can use in order to be involved in space entrepreneurship, for example. You can be involved if for transport, for example, you can use GPS in order to when we talk about transport, it is I will say terrestrial transport first. For cars, you have like GPS on board, but also aviation, maritime transportation. You can also have GNS system on board. So you also have in health, in machinery, safety, engineer, energy, things like that, environment, like disaster risk management, for example. You can build a startup working on transforming or analyzing science data exists in order to prevent or to mitigate disaster, big disaster, things like that. Just to say, there are like spin-off that we also have. Spin-off and spinning is like spin-off. You have some technologies that come from the space industry and apply to our day-to-day life. And we have thousands of examples like that, like solar panel, like a filter, water filter, or high technologies that are also integrate into all the system that we have. But we also have technology that are out of the space area that can be involved into the space area. So whatever you do, the first thing from my point of view is to start looking for the information, like knowing that the investment of the budget of space in Africa, for example, now is like 548 million US dollars million. And knowing that this budget is increasing, you will know that you can be involved in any way, like, okay, whatever is your profile, whatever is your area of expertise, whatever is your goal, your professional career goal, you can use space application for all the sectors: telecommunication, forest monitoring, environmental issues like pollution, communication, like I said already, transport, agriculture, mining, security, all the sectors. So first of all, you need to have interest on that and look for information. Secondly, to be involved in big project directly related to space, we should all build our capacity and try to adapt what work abroad, copy that, and I will say make solution for our end user that are usually our community. So that is what I can say in order to answer to that question.
That was very great. Thank you a lot for that. I mean, I think that makes sense. You know, it's basically take a problem, look at everything from a problem. Take a problem that you want to solve and find out how you can use different technologies to solve it, rather than starting from the opposite end, which is starting from technology. Start from the problems that we have, and there are a lot of problems in Africa. You won't have too many difficulties finding them. And so you just have to find a way to apply space technologies to it. And that's the thing. The space technologies are best suited to solve a lot of these problems. It's just that people don't know about it, or people don't look for local solutions, and they look elsewhere, and then things get confusing. But yeah, that was yeah. I think you said it very well, and I'm sure our listeners took a lot of value from that. As we're coming right to the end, I'll wrap it up with two short questions. So one for you and one for Salvation. This is just a very easy, light-hearted question, which is, what are, in your journey so far, coming from just starting up in the industry and now you're going to ISU, what is one or two of the highlights of your journey so far, of something that you were really proud of, or something that you're really happy about, or anything like that? What would you say is one or two of your highlights so far?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. So, one of the big achievements for me is to be involved into space, because space is something bigger than us. And by saying that, I just want to say, contributing to something bigger than you is always something great. When you know that you are part of the solution, you can push your limit and be more useful for you, for your family, for your society. When I say for you, it's like, okay, maybe today I'm struggling to pay my tuition fees at ISU, you see, but hopefully tomorrow that will not be the case. Just because space has that potential. You see, space has potential to make us dream. And that is the second achievement I will underline. I will not talk about like event organized like that. No, that I'm proud of that, but it's not the achievement I wanna. The achieve I want is like be involved, be part of the solution. And the second one is dream. I was able to dream. I dreamed a lot, and I'm still dreaming. But a lot of Cameroonians, for example, are not dreaming today. And through space, I'm able to build a certain vision that help my generation and the next generation to also dream. So that are two achievements I can underline. I did a lot of activities, event. Yes, that are big achievement. Like when I was recently in Spain, and I was able to visit like big infrastructure. We went in Madrid, ESA headquarter, European Space Agency, NASA headquarter, Demos headquarter. We visit that, and that was super nice. I discussed with a lot of astronauts when I was in Spain, etc. But that are not the achievement we want as Africans today. That are good achievement, but we should all be able to dream of the Africa we want, to dream of a united Africa, to dream of something that help to move from idea to action, and from action to solution. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And Salvation, same thing for you. What is one or two of the highlights on your journey so far? Something that made you proud, maybe you're happy, anything?
Okay. One particular thing, I'll just say one. That was a highlight that made me quite very happy was I spoke to someone about space. I introduced the person to space. After talking to the person for a while, the person took up the challenge and went into it, and took courses and graduated, has certifications, and the person is doing well now. It's not just because that I was able to get the person enlightened or aware of what he could do, but that I was able to motivate someone from outside the field to learn
and to grow and keep growing is something I'm very happy about. So I can always look back and say, oh yes, we are making progress because someone has, been able to benefit from this awareness, this uh, publicity that we are trying to do about space. So that was a very huge time for me.
That's really great, and that personal connection I think is always very very nice, and I think also that's the great thing about the space industry as well in general is that it's actually a relatively small industry even globally. There aren't that many people involved in it, so it's easy to feel a connection to people when you start getting involved. Like I've been involved in the African ecosystem now for about a year, but it feels that I've been here forever because everybody's so welcoming, everybody's so open. It's easy to talk to people. We all have the same vision for the future for Africa, and I think that's very very important. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So yeah, I think we've now reached the end of this webinar. So just a little bit over an hour. We kept to schedule, which is nice. Thank you, Salvation. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Alimami, who had to drop out, for joining, for sharing your perspectives. And also thank you, of course, to our audience for sticking by with us and watching. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. For me, the main takeaways from this is essentially, you don't have to do anything special to enter the industry. You can come from any backgrounds that you have. All the knowledge you've already accumulated to this point is relevant and is useful. There's a place for it in this industry. We need more voices. We need more perspectives. We need more ideas of how to move forward. And we need to work together to strengthen each other's initiatives, each other's activities. The industry as a whole is growing in Africa, and we can only grow by working together. And we can only grow by applying our own specific knowledge to the ecosystem. I can bring something that Charles can't bring, but Charles can bring something that I can't bring, and Salvation can bring something that neither of us can bring either to the conversation. And all of those perspectives are needed and are necessary for us to move forward. So in fact, actually, one of the things I'm most happiest about, if I'm going to give my own highlight for this year, is actually starting these webinars, because it's giving me the time and the chance to talk to so many smart people across the continent, so many motivated people, so many passionate people who have ideas and who have ways of doing things that really inspire me myself and give me motivation as well to keep moving forward, to keep trying to do what I can for the industry. And so I think that's something that's very exciting. And I mean, there's the small conversation we had near the end with Charles talking about how to actually improve the ecosystem. That's something that now I want to have a longer conversation about it. And maybe in the future, we'll have a webinar dedicated purely to ideas for improving the industry and for moving the industry further. But that we can save that for another time. In the meantime, thank you again to our audience. This is exactly what Space Hubs Africa is for. We're trying to help you on your journey. We're trying to get different perspectives. We're trying to make the African space industry more of a community, more of a family between all of us, because I think we all need to help each other to move forward. And of course, if you need any help, you can always reach out to us. So you can reach out to me, Kweku, Kweku at spacehubs.africa. If you want to send me an email, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm available on any of the platforms. Thank you all for attending this webinar. Sorry if there were any questions we weren't able to answer, or if you wanted to get more in detail on certain topics. But as we mentioned, we'll have regular webinars every month. So if there are any topics you want us to cover, also send it in. Charles and Salvation. So Charles, to start with, how can the audience get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. So the best way is definitely LinkedIn. Just type ZC Charles, you will find my name. But you can also send me an email to zcharles at spacegeneration.org, or if you are in touch with Kwaku or any space leader in Africa, we say like young space leader, that person can definitely help you to reach me. And the last thing I want to say is there are a lot of opportunities. We are launching, for example, the Ubuntu Space Initiative. That should be a very big startup because of the fact that we are working with all the SGC national point of contact around the continent, and this should definitely be a really big startup. So if you want to be involved in something like that from the beginning, just reach out to me, and we will be happy to work with any of you who would like to be part of the solution. And yeah, let's stay in touch. Let's work together. Let's grow up our network. Let's work. Let's act. Thanks.
Similarly, Salvation, any last words? How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, okay. I think my first last word would be I'm not this dark. Not I think the lighting is not just in my favor today. And to get in touch with me, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or any social media platform except Twitter for now. Just Salvation Peter, you can get me anywhere. And I would also want to say anyone who wants to come into the field, you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to know physics from book one to wherever. You don't have to be a scientist. You just have to have the passion. You just have to have the right motivation. You just have to have the perseverance and the willingness to learn. That is majorly what you need, and you can come into this field and you do great. Thank you very much. I would love to get in contact with you. I would love to see how you're doing. I would love to see what you're doing and how it is how everything is playing out in your country, in your community, and all that. Thank you so much.
Great. And so then final words for me. You can join our community.spacehubs.africa. Follow us on social media. We're on all platforms, I believe. I'll, of course, post all the different links to your LinkedIns and stuff on our social media as well, especially next week once we have the highlights of this webinar out. The full webinar is going to be available today on YouTube and then through our platform moving forward. Other than that, thanks a lot to the audience again once for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll be back next month.